Hello, wanted to give my first impressions on this Kizer Zugang. Recently picked this up off of knifecenter.com, and what drew me to it was the different blade shape. It's very reminiscent of a butcher style blade. ADV knife, or this guy, his name is Rad Knives, is on Instagram, makes blade shapes very similar to this, and I do like the cutout, again, making it look even more so like a real butcher knife. Handles are titanium. Not really going to go over the specs. You can check that out online, but they did a decent job radiusing them. This lettering, it says all that you need and nothing more. The scales itself, I don't know if you can see that. It's this nice line mill they put on it. Feels very similar to vinyl wallpaper. Gives it a little bit extra texture, so it's not going to slide out of your hand as much. The hardware, it's kind of raised up. Be nice if that was a little bit more inset. Standoffs they don't look that bad. This is the only Kizer I've owned, so I don't know, in general, if all Kizer knives are like that or how the action on Kizers are. But action-wise, it's not bad. I'd say this is on par with like a ZT 560. So not the fastest flipper. The blade is pretty darn thick, so moving all that mass, I can understand why it's not not a lightning bolt. The detent could be a little tighter, I will say though. If the detent was tighter on this, you were able to store up more energy, I think this would actually be a better flipper. Now, I think part of the reason why they made the detent not as tight is because of the thumb stud. Because when you're using the thumb stud, it is stiffer to get it out, but the thumb stud action is actually really nice. And it's like on both sides, so anybody who's ambidextrous or a lefty, it's it'll work pretty well. Pocket clip's kind of weird. This sticks up a little high. You can bump into things, and it might cuts off the materials. But overall, I mean, it's a little different, and if it was deep carry, I guess I'd prefer that a little more, but not the end of the world. Let's see, anything else? Oh, the frame, however it is contoured, it is pretty thin here. The material is pretty thin. So, and this is where your finger hits after you flip it, right here. This is where your finger lands. And I don't know why, but they should have just kept it as thick as this part, because it's thin enough that it runs in your hand. And after playing with the knife for a while, it kind of starts irritating you. And do the same thing on the lock bar. It might be hard to see. It's very thin right at the edge where your thumb's pushing. So you're constantly pushing on this very thin edge. Unlike, for example, this. It's more radius and it's fatter, so it's not as aggressive. Even a smaller knife, you're pushing on, and that's a broad part. So it would be great if this was just flat. Like, if they got rid of this silly indent and just made it flat, that would be better. What they did do that's very nice, I don't know if I'll be able to show it here. The liners, let's see, they milled out as much as they could of these liners, and that's actually really cool. Making this just a little bit here, and then basically the whole side down here. So they didn't have to do that, and it's for a knife that's this size, and it's a pretty good size knife. It's very light, which is I think that's really cool. My sweet spot for knives is stuff 5 ounces or less. So if you're 5 ounces or less, I'll end up carrying you. Very cool. I mean, overall, great knife. Pretty happy with it. Had some issues with the lock bar when I first got it. It was binding here. Might throw some graphite on it. Hope that resolves it. Because any time I push down, and actually I'd use the knife, it did tend to stick. And it's not necessarily moving when I push in, but I can feel it ever so slightly getting in there, and then it sticks just a little bit. Let me try to do that again. So if I push down hard, again, emulating that process, it's almost the same as me pushing in the lock bar, and even if I was doing that, I would potentially be torquing my hand into the lock bar when pushing down on something. So basically that motion, and it does stick a little. And maybe if I play with it a little more, it'll go away, because I would like to keep this one. I called Knife Center and asked them about it, and they actually told me to return it. But I waited a while for this to come in stock, so I might just keep it and just you know, live with it. So anyways, these are my impressions on the knife. Kizer Zugang, pretty cool. Came with this nice box, came with this fun pouch. You could throw some crap in here, but that was pretty nice. And it came with this microfiber rag thingy. So cool. Thanks, Kizer, and let me know if you have any questions.